All right, today I'll be talking about why Bugs Bunny isn't omnipotent. Like, yeah, he's really powerful and can break fictions and things like that. But at the end of the day, omnipotence would be all powerful. And in his stories, like, he does have a few where he becomes the animator or the author or whatever. And those are really impressive things in your own plot. But it really doesn't even make you omnipotent. In your verse, it could make you omnipotent, but also there could be characters that could clap the writer. Like you see in Marvel, there are plenty of characters that can beat the writer. Um, so yeah, he also people who fundamentally just transcend dimensions and things like that. But even with that, Bugs Bunny becoming the writer or even becoming in real life, he's still limited by many things. For instance, he still has to be drawn. He still has to be animated. Like those things really do count when it comes to certain characters. Like he still doesn't transcend the page, and if he comes off the page, he doesn't transcend the animated commercial that he's actually in. For instance, being an extra dimensional higher plane would mean that you basically go to like a fictional branch above where you are. So if he transcends his dimension, he's really only just going up a dimension or going up a few dimensions. So it's like it's impressive, it's fictional transcendence, but it's not omnipotence. Like for omnipotence, you need something like Azathoth, who he's not bound by even the pages that are written. And yeah, I did make a video called "He Can Beat the One Above All," right? But to be honest, it's a wank video. It's basically taking Bugs at his best, having his best feats and his fourth wall feats and shit like that, and his pocket spaces and stuff. And then it's like applying like some basically, well, in this story, the the one above all needed this and that to work properly, so Bugs Bunny could break the wall and then go do it. But I didn't take into account True Form, the one above all. True Form, the one above all, scales pretty much above most of the characters in Marvel. Like he is a powerful being. Like he's no longer the one above all, but he's pretty much the one above all. He's a really powerful character, and it's hard to find characters that can actually beat him that don't infinitely transcend like everything. And so Bugs Bunny's best claim for fame is coming into the real world. So that's a good feat. It actually puts some outer versal tiers of power because of how Marvel and DC works. But it also isn't the best thing because Doctor Strange is able to cast spells that if like the reader saw them, they would die. And then there's characters that can one-shot Doctor Strange, and the one above all is like on a whole nother level of power than Doctor Strange, and characters on that tier of power. So it's like, yeah, he can probably beat the one above all's Avatar or something like that, but there would be no way that he can beat the one above all. If anything, if we maxed out all of Bugs Bunny stuff, sorry, cars everywhere. If we maxed out all his stuff and just wanked him to all hell, he'd probably be equal. Uh, he'd be equal because true omnipotence and true gag, like they're basically the same thing. And Bugs Bunny has been shown to be a pretty much goofy gag character like the whole time. But he's not like the strongest gag character. In fact, there's characters like Popeye who have been shown to be just as godly. In fact, even more so where he broke the animation wheel, and he's also been able to like foderize the sun, give the sun a black eye and shit. So even like on paper feats, even he's not even the strongest gag character. But yeah, Bugs Bunny is a strong character and he beats like a lot of your favorite characters, but he's not gonna beat like the one above all or any true god tier character, any true form god character. And I just had to clear that up because one of my fans was talking and asking me about it. But yeah, it's like it's hard to get Bugs to boundless or even like to high hyperversal like levels of power, or I mean high outer versal levels of power. Like you can get him to higher dimensional though, and that's really easy. Yeah, Bugs Bunny is really impressive, especially when he has his writer's hacks or when he's the writer. But usually your writer powers will only really work in your fiction. Like if you're the writer and you go to a whole nother verse, your writing powers really aren't going to have any sway over how the verse works, because they have different rules and different powers. You might still be a very strong being, but you also might not be able to control anything. That's why one omnipotent being can't just go to another verse and beat another omnipotent being. It's just kind of not how it works. And then on top of that, he has been shown to get boloed by the author before. Like a lot of his fourth wall hacks and the fourth wall feats come from him talking to the author. And like that, there's one episode where he's talking to the author and the author's like just fucking with him, changing the world around him, like destroying everything, erasing him, and then drawing him back. Well, yeah, Bugs Bunny is really powerful, and he's talking shit to the author. Don't get me wrong. But to be honest, like he's not like transcending the author and then like going and slapping him or just like reforming his body or something like that. No, what he's doing is he's telling the author to write him back, because he's basically the main character. And you really in a story like this, if you kill off your main character or you rewrite him or just draw him as something else and change him around, it's gonna change how your money affects your pockets and stuff like that. It's more of a meta joke on the series and on the fourth wall breaks than it is a legit like power source. But even with that, like that's just showing that other writers or other characters at those tiers of power should have strength either equivalent or greater. And the writers also are not omnipotent, because of the simple fact is they do have to go through editors and people who basically, like, you know how the companies work. Since we're gonna use meta, fourth wall, fifth wall breaking shit, like you would have to also take into account how companies work and how they're set up. The author doesn't have 100% control of his fiction. He has to go through a board, a team of people, and then they edit shit out for him. So even if we did say that like he omnipotence, like Bugs Bunny's the writer all the time and shit, it still wouldn't put him at that high tier of power.